Wrong one.
6:02. Okay, call this meeting. 6:02. We're good, Janet?
Why are you good?
We're getting closer, I think.
Great.
Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. Roll call, Anna.
Dan Jackson,
Here.
Scott Johnson.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Justin Firecoat.
Here.
Dwight Roth.
Here.
Okay. Changes or additions to the agenda?
Do I have any?
Anybody? Okay. Public comment? Any public wish to comment? That's easy enough. Okay. Consent agenda. Any changes to that consent agenda? I'd like to move 4.6. Just because I haven't seen any information on that yet.
I sent you that on Thursday and Gail sent you an update about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did everybody else see it?
I sent it in my board report and Janet sent it in
That's 4.6.
4/6.
And it's not really just.
No.
What's that?
Yeah, I saw it. I thought it made sense. Yeah, in the board report, I guess, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see that. So we want to leave it as consent?
If you're
There-
comfortable
there's-
with it.
Yeah, there's
Can't really
nothing
discuss it.
for you guys to vote on. It's just information. Only they were temporary contract. Anyways.
Okay. All right. With that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yeah, I guess I move that we approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, probably moved and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0, Janet. Board discussion, board goal update. I didn't have anything except for looking at the policy that we were in revision, that BI-AR. There's a list of legislative things for the board. I'm wondering if that shouldn't be incorporated into our board goals somehow, some way as another section of the board goals.
EIAR.
Yeah, it's the one with the,
But yeah, what's it about?
it lists,
Like locally, legislative issue.
Basically, it's the AR to policy BI, so it's basically what the district decides and how they're going to.
I mean, there's things on there like
Do.
attending conferences and discussing things with your legislator and whatnot, which we should be doing.
You guys did that OSBA this year.
Scott and I.
Yes.
Mhm.
You guys can hold off on approving or updating that until you figure out what you're gonna do as far as the AR.
Yeah, no, I just, when I read that again, I'm like, ooh, there's some things
Yeah.
that we need to maybe have a
We could
legislative category or something.
approve it and then or adopt it still.
Yeah.
Our board goals.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
That's
just pointing out that that might be a component of our goals.
Mhm.
Anything else on board goals? Haven't really revisited them because we've been busy with other projects. A little busy, huh?
Yeah.
All right, committee reports, no interviews to my knowledge. CTE Ag, Scott?
Yeah, I actually had the ag advisory meeting. And interviewed seniors for the Waldron Scholarship and along with just the FFA scholarship. Then also interviewed an officer slate for this coming year for the FFA, and I think the FFA is in good hands for leadership and should have a good year, it looks like, on that front, so.
Great. Busy. Budget, nothing on budget
Oh,
for the committee wise.
no, I have looked at my report. That's mine, not yours.
Okay. Foundation, Preston.
No, we haven't, although we should have probably some scholarship stuff coming up. So do we have some applicants? There's nothing about them yet, has there?
You mean as far as
Like an email out to,
Renee tells all the kids about it. She passes along with all the other scholarship because she has them all in the senior experience.
right, but to the committee member, like the foundation.
No, other than when we made the decision, yes, we were gonna offer it.
Gotcha.
As we usually do. Yeah, so they were expecting it to be offered same amount, same process, same everything as before.
And we've got two out. When do we review?
It was, I'm trying to think of the date. I think it was 1st of April,
Is that what
because then we
it says?
told them May,
Okay.
yeah. So we have a little bit, but I personally, I would like to have her make one more announcement. Just make sure that there aren't more than two, because we could support more than two.
So we haven't done anything, but we got some applicants.
Perfect. Well, at least we know what's going on.
Yeah.
That's good. Capital plan, Dwight. Mark, anything? ESD, Scott?
Let's see, we did have a budget meeting. I think we talked about that before the last board meeting that I missed. I mean, it went over that a little bit, but
Well, there was no budget.
yeah, it was more so just their proposal of what plan they're gonna, or what they're gonna be having for a plan, so.
Okay. The only thing I have for NLCSN is Stacy said that the FFA banquet's on April 6th. They're gonna cater that. And I know I went to the gala and it was well attended. They did pretty good, I think.
Good.
So. Okay. Excellent. District policy review, policies BG and BI and BIARs in second reading and adoption. We didn't have anything to change on those. Oh, we did, didn't we, Janet? Did you have that language from?
For the BIAR.
Yeah.
You guys, did you want to add the December conference, the December law conference in place of the?
We were just gonna make it more vague as being like a legislative or policy conference.
Yeah, so just attend a legislative or policy conference. Yeah, that'll, yeah. Okay, so
So on bullet 4
on
on
the
BIAR, it talked about the OSBA COSA Legislative Conference each February, and it doesn't happen in February, I don't think. And they've changed the name and some other things, so we were just gonna make it a general
Conference.
conference, legal policy conference.
Sense,
So we'll probably need a motion for that,
just for that section.
yeah, that change.
Yeah, I move that we amend bullet 4 BIAR to read, commit to sending a team to legislative conferences held each legislative year. That work?
Yep.
I'll second it.
Okay, move to second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? 5-0, Janet.
Now do we need a motion to adopt?
To adopt.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we'll be adopting 3 of them, so BG, BI, BIAR. This is the second reading.
Did anybody have anything else on the other ones?
Well, that will be separately as a first reading.
Oh, because that's the first reading again,
Oh,
since we amended it.
No, you said the other policies. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, sorry. I mean,
There's another
PG,
batch,
yeah,
yeah.
yes.
No. Just the three.
I move that we accept policies BG, BI, and BIAR, just a minute. Adopt.
Second reading and adopt.
Second reading adoption.
I'll second that.
Okay, moving to second, any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. 5-0, Janet. Policies BB, BBB, these are in first reading. These had to do with the board's legal status, what we called, what we do, and then the only question I had on BBB is, do we need to update the spring of 2015? Just to restart that?
Yes,
Clock.
update the dates.
Yeah.
Update the dates.
I mean, it's still correct, it's just
Yes.
a little dated, but,
Just 10 years old.
so we'd restart that clock
Yes.
after the second
Update
reading.
the dates.
Anything else, gentlemen?
Something was first.
What's that?
We need a motion to accept the first.
Yeah, it's the
reading.
first reading.
Yeah, I move we accept first reading on BB and BBB. Second.
Okay, moved in second, any discussion? All in favor? 5-0, Janet. 5.4 superintendent search update. Obviously, we got a meeting today. Excuse me. After this meeting, which would be the candidate slate that we get to discuss and go through, but a couple of dates I want to make sure everybody's aware of. We currently have March 17th, March 18th for the initial interviews. That's a Zoom call. Now that depends on how many candidates that we want to move forward and their availability, I would assume to some degree, but we might be able to knock them out in one afternoon or one morning, whatever works. Okay. March 24th, 25th is the second round. Again, depends on how many we move forward. And that's face to face. And then March 25th is the selection. So as soon as we're done with that second round, we should be selecting unless we need to go back into something. And then March 31st, the selection is announced. So a little bit of work, but the process is pretty amazing, all the stuff they give us. That's all I have there. Any questions on the superintendent search information that you can share? Steve's keeping us pretty up to date. Okay. Number 6, new business. Teacher contract renewals. 6.11 is probationary.
Okay, so on 6.1, probationary teacher contract renewals for 26-27. This is only 1 year because these teachers are still in probationary status, except for if you look at the 3rd year probationary list where it says probationary to contract teacher status, there are 3 names there, actually 4. But Janet and I discovered a weird little thing where they changed the law on House Bill 2900. They changed the law, and I think Janet gave you some explanation of this as well.
July.
Yeah, last July 2025. We were aware that the rule changed from if you had achieved a 3-year or probationary status and passed that and you achieved contract status in another district, then when they come to your district, they only have to be on a 2-year probationary status. Okay, we knew that. What we didn't know until we started making this list and Janet started looking into it, just to make the list, is that if that is you, if you're one of those people, then that actually your contract status becomes effective the 1st of January. If you're in your 3, yeah, but you're one of those people, then yeah, you get it as of 1/1. So that means these people have already been on contract status since 1/1. I had no idea of that. Jen didn't either. So it was a surprise to us. And it's really kind of funny because I pulled up the law, of course, and read it. It doesn't really even say it in there. It doesn't say 1-1. So I haven't heard anybody mention it. I had no idea. Have no, but we were
And
all
the
only
only-
the 2-year.
And the
So
only reason I knew about it was I'm on an HR group listserv and they were like asking questions about it
yeah,
and what's going on and how did they do that.
yeah,
And they said it's only an issue for teachers you're non-renewing for
yeah.
costs.
Yeah, the good news is, I felt, I mean, I don't like it when I don't know stuff like that, so I didn't like that. But the good news is that none of these teachers I was concerned about anyway, so that's okay. So as far as the probationary teacher contract renewal goes, I would recommend all of those people on that list for promotion to the next level. Yeah, 2 at first year, 2 at second year, and 4 at 3-year. And I have no problem if they're on the list. I have no problem with them being moved to the next year. So I would just ask that you approve that full slate of teachers on that list. And there, if you want to, there's a motion at the bottom. Janet put it down there in the bottom view.
So then the second year people that we would be approving this year, those 2 names.
No, just one name. The top name is second year. The other 2 are third year.
No, I mean.
He's
in
looking at year 2.
In the year,
Oh, year 2.
the 2 names in the year 2.
Yeah.
Year 3. Okay.
If we renewed those people next year, since they're brand new, I believe.
Yes.
Would
Yeah,
they
they
go
haven't-
through the full year or would it be we had to
No, they
make a
go through
decision
the
by
full year.
January 1st?
They haven't reached contract status in any other school district.
So they would go the full year. So you would have the whole year next year to look at those 2 and make a decision if.
That's just something we should pay attention
Yep.
to moving forward,
Yeah.
because if there was an issue with somebody, we want to make a decision before.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that's an interesting little slant on that.
Kind of took us by surprise.
It did.
Can this be broke up
Look up.
into different categories for approval or not?
You mean, what,
Going against her recommendation.
or do you just want to differentiate because they have already achieved contract status as of 1/1? Is that what you're asking them?
No, if we wanted to pull one of the year groupings out of this
And vote
recommendation.
on it like separately.
Or is that 2, because there's so few of names on there, is that a little risque?
I think so.
I think it's a little risque,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then what happens if the board doesn't vote for this? Yeah. That was just questions that been surfaced. We've had this discussion years past too, so I was just trying to get that out there, so.
And it might be with 2 of those third-year probationaries that are already potentially contract status, but it may be a moot point.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
'cause they may already be there. I mean,
Yeah,
that PACE flyer I found that they were circulating seems to indicate that. The bill seems to indicate that, so. But we have not heard back from.
When did the bill pass?
last July.
Last July.
That actually brings up a quick, so we're really not. I mean, our only person we really hire is you.
Mhm.
So on these recommendations to move somebody from, first year probation to second and so on and so forth. Is that? I guess I don't know, like, what does a no vote institute? I mean, that person doesn't. Cause that seems like then the board is. Getting involved in the hiring process, which
That's right.
it seems like a gray area that like we're voting on something that maybe is beyond our
Mhm.
powers even. if that makes
It
sense.
actually is.
It actually is.
Because that's why you hire your superintendent, because you have to know that they're gonna do a good job and you have to take their word for it. That's one reason you hire a superintendent. It is not your job you have to approve these because you're contract teachers, but you also have to take the superintendent at their word. If they recommend them, then by all rights, you should approve them. Because you really don't have the right to say no. Now, we've had people in the past,
We can't evaluate.
no,
It's-
uh-uh,
So-
yeah.
So then what would happen if we did vote no on the whole thing, or a single slate if they were separated out, or it just seems like seems like the whole process is a moot point.
It kind of is. If you want to put it that way, it kind of is. It really kind of is, because that's my job to already have done the homework to bring him forward to you. If I didn't do our job, we didn't do our job, evaluations, observations, conversations, all that stuff that go into whether or not we recommend it for approval, then they wouldn't be on this list.
So if we
But
vote,
that's,
so if we voted no, would that actually do anything? I mean, obviously it would tell you that we don't approve of the recommendation that you made.
that would tell them.
Beyond that,
Exactly. Well, and you have to understand that as of March 15th, if we don't have a decision made at a board meeting, they're gonna be automatically renewed anyway. If you don't tell them, or I don't tell them by March 15th, then they get automatically renewed. That's what their contract says. If you voted no, like tonight, and said, I don't want this particular person or whatever, that's gonna be a problem, because then it's gonna get really deep into, first phone call I'd make would be to an attorney to say, now what? Because we can't talk about it, they're not here.
right?
It would go into all of that. And I think you probably, I've never been in that situation.
I think you have to collectively vote against the whole.
The whole, yeah,
Because there's so few in each slate.
yeah. And I think we'd be in pretty deep, and we'd probably, I don't even know, I can't even tell you what would happen. Never been in that
So
situation.
if the board was having issues with any of these probationary people, we should be talking to you about it in January.
Yeah.
Ahead of time.
Mhm. Yeah,
Any other questions? Guess we need a motion then.
the suggested motion is way at the bottom of the page, right? If you read that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to review all of the above probationary teacher contracts for the 2026-2027 school year as presented.
Second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded that we renew all the above probationary teacher contracts for the 2026-2027 school year as presented. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? One abstention, Janet.
Who's the abstention?
You mean,
Okay, thank you. And then we have same process for the next page, which is all of the contract teacher extensions. These are teachers who are already past their probationary or in year 4 and past here. Their list, names are all on the list, and I recommend all of them for continued employment with the district as well.
This is the one that you really couldn't do anything about it.
yeah,
The last one was gray, this one's pretty black.
This is pretty
This one's pretty black.
and we fixed the date. on that. I don't have my computer up, so.
Yes, we did.
All right. It's verifying.
That's just the 2-year roll.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to extend all the above contract teacher rolling contracts for the school years 2026-27 and 2027 to 2028 as presented.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, do I second? Motion is to extend all the above contract teacher rolling contracts for the school year 2026 and 2027, 2028 as presented. All those in favor? For Janet? All those opposed? One abstention?
Okay, thank you. And then the last one is the administrator contract renewal. I also have to recommend Aaron Flacken as vice principal AD and Cameron Mitchum as principal for renewal, contract renewal, and I recommend both of them. Now, Cameron is already on a 2-year rolling contract. Mr. Flack is not. He only had a contract for this year. But I would like him to get on the same rolling contract, so they're just on the same. It's because we've had Cameron on that for a while, haven't we, Janet, since he came, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, so are you recommending he's off probation?
We just went over his contract here last fall.
Yeah, unless
He's already on 2, he's not up.
No, he's on a 1-year.
he was on a 1 year, so I'm just asking.
Well, Aaron, but Cameron, we just.
Cameron's on it.
So,
Yeah,
But his wouldn't be, because we just did it last year, so it's not up till next
Well,
year.
it's like his runs like the teachers as far as
Yes.
it's just a rolling 2 years. So you
Yes.
Oh, every year.
Or not.
Gotcha.
yeah. So I was just suggesting we ought to put Aaron's on the same, so it's the both. It doesn't make any sense to me to have one on a 1 year and the other one on rolling. I think it just makes sense together.
Is that a contractual little change that we have to make in the?
Yes, I would like that stated, and just so it's,
You would have to move Aaron from probationary to
yes.
like rolling.
Yes, and I would happily do that. And then, because he doesn't have to go through a 3-year period like anybody else. And then, yeah, that would be the only two. And there's a motion there to read that, just that, what we just discussed at the bottom. If you're okay with that?
Do we need to specify that Aaron would be moving from probationary to contract?
Yeah, you can put that
Yep.
wording.
Mhm. Makes it very clear.
Go for president.
So you want 2 motions on that? Oh,
Put it on.
Or just including that in the motion,
I'd put it on.
either one.
Yeah.
Just however you guys want to do it. You can do 2 or just include it.
Okay. Yeah, I move that we move Aaron Black from probationary contract status, as well as renew both Aaron Black and Cameron Mitchum's rolling contracts. So,
Perfect. Sure. I'll
That
second.
works.
Wow,
That makes sense to you, Harry? Did to me.
Dwight really liked it. We make note of
Yeah.
that. Okay,
Aaron seems to be smiling as well.
second. He's torn, he has to commute now.
yeah. Okay. Is there any more discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0, Janet. Congratulations. Aaron.
They have,
I want to start looking at some real estate.
I'm just talking about that today. Anyway, no, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Finally, 6.3 would be the confidential employees contract negotiation.
Yes,
This one employee.
yes, for
That
one.
One employee that.
Point down right there, that one in the front row, kind of like you're in a courtroom. Yes, you see me in the courtroom.
I don't want to call out anybody by name.
I'm going to, can you might need to, you could ask him a question for Jubal, if there's anything you want to say, you can. On the chart that looks like this, which you got from Monica, and Monica can add anything about this too, because it involved all of this, but when we did classify, or not classified, but yeah, the support staff, I guess we call them,
Confidential contract.
confidential contracts, yeah, confidential. Last year, Jubal asked, because his position was new and he didn't really know what to even really ask for, he asked if he could just bargain or, go along with that 1 year, leave the rest blank. Remember those stars that were on there last year that was blank? So he came back this year and Monica and I and Jubal talked, and we plugged in a number that really is in line with what everybody else ended up doing anyway. The percent of salary increase so now it would just be on the 2 highlighted yellow lines, because he already did 25, 26, obviously. So you're just looking at 26, 27, 27, 28. So we just applied, you'll see the percent of increase. You'll see what it did to his hourly wage for both years, what it does to his yearly salary. And he is fine with that for the next 2 years, and that puts him on the same cycle with all the rest of the people in his bargaining group. So I am proposing that you approve that for him and get him included in the group, and he's not an individual anymore. There was a good reason why we did it. Now he's back in the group with everybody else. So
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns when we did that. So,
there were, and that's why I honored his request to just wait. That was fine with me, but we've got it figured out now. Anything you wanted to add, Jubal, or anything? Okay.
Not really, and most of my goals, I'm trying to get into being a bus trainer over spring break for those and class to go to that and get certified bus trainer.
Yeah,
perfect,
Meet that goal.
he's working
I
on
think
that.
it's the only one that I didn't meet for last year.
because you got your training for mechanic
Yep.
work and all that stuff done right away.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So he worked hard. I think it was last week. He asked me for 2 letters of recommendation for 2 different things to get into the program. And from Thursday to today, he's already gotten into the program. He's going to start spring break, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, for behind the wheel and whatever. We're trying to keep this in Lake County as much as we can, so we don't have to travel so far.
Yep, no, it's
Training and
wonderful.
testing. So
If you get
going that
that
way.
training, will you be able to train for like Lakeview and Paisley as well?
Yeah.
If they want to.
I can get hired by them to perform training.
Anyway, so the only thing is that he's the only person you have to look at that's in what I'm asking for approval for today.
So we'll need a motion to approve that salary.
Yes.
Is it adjustment, I guess would be the
Yes,
Yeah.
or, yeah,
Negotiation.
yeah,
negotiation,
yeah, for his salary.
or approving
Yes.
you to negotiate. What are we doing?
He's kind of done the initial negotiation
Yes,
with, Gail.
Yes.
So we're approving the outcome of the negotiation,
yeah,
essentially. Okay,
the salary and salary amount for the next 2 years.
I'll make a motion to approve the presented contract salary. For Jewel.
Second.
okay, it's been moved to second. Is there any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0, Janet. Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Other business action items, there was none at this time. Only thing I put on there was if there was anything new from ESD in terms of a budget. If we're gonna get one, but they probably still don't know yet what their funding is, so. Okay,
Well, we just found out kind of what ours is, so they just found out what theirs is. So they're working on it, but I don't have anything yet.
all right. Well, you learned something.
Yeah, I'll let you know, but
So right
I was just looking, I know there's another budget meeting to come up, but not sure when.
Okay, 8.1.
Yeah, recap of winter sports. Wrestling with Rice Willard, placed 3rd state, so got on the podium there. It's the first time that since Dalton, they had a state placer, so yeah, they had a good year. And then our girls basketball team had a rough one, it's a good game. I mean, they're up by 5 going into the 4th against Echo. And Echo went on a 12-0 run or something, kind of. But Echo's a good team. They ended up placing 3rd state. So our girls are right there. So yeah, it was a good winter season. And then now we're off to track. So I think they got about 15 to 18 kids out there with the girls. We don't have a middle school coach yet. Hopefully we'll get one. We're going to start middle school after we come back after the break. So, and we have about 17 kids signed up for middle school. So I hope we can find a coach. So, but anyway, there's some interest there. We just need to try to get someone that want to take on that. So otherwise we might.
Got any more kids?
Do I have any more kids? No, they were baseball.
Hey,
At this point, we need a warm body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah,
You know,
it seems to be going well at the start of the season.
Good weather.
Yeah, great weather.
no, great, thanks.
Take it back.
Principal's report.
Yeah, and well, Cameron is gone today, so he didn't give me
there, so I didn't.
Oh, did you link it?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
'cause
hasn't written.
He didn't give anything to me.
Yeah.
I'll have to find it. Did you guys already read it?
It's, yeah, it's linked there on the
Okay.
agenda.
Did you have any questions or anything about it? I didn't see the link.
Well, I can just go ahead and read it.
Yeah, go ahead, read it, Janet.
He says for professional development during the February 20th Professional Development Day. K through 3 teachers continued their work in early literacy. K-3 teachers have reflected that our literacy trainer conduct classroom observations and provide feedback and additional support in areas needing refinement. Funds remain available through the early literacy grant to support this continued training. All staff also receive training on the Renaissance Star Assessment Program. This interim assessment meets the requirements outlined in Senate Bill 141, which will take effect next year. Master schedule, course opportunities. Work has begun on developing next year's master schedule. Part of this process, we are exploring opportunities to expand elective offerings. We currently have the opportunity to send 1 and possibly 2 high school teachers to a fully funded Exploring Computer Science training. This program provides a year-long foundational computer science curriculum, along with ongoing professional development support during the first year of implementation. Curriculum adoption. This year is the scheduled adoption cycle for surface-based curriculum. Staff members are currently reviewing and evaluating several curriculum options. Student and athletic achievements. The boys wrestling team finished second in the 1A, 2A OSAA academic state rankings with a team GPA of 3.37. The girls basketball team finished 13th with a team GPA of 3.69. Narrowly missing the top 10, which required a minimum GPA of 3.73. Upcoming events, March 17th. 7th and 8th grade students will participate in the Rubathon competition alongside students from Paisley. OSU Extension will be here. They're seeking 3 or 4 community members to serve as judges from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. for that hour. March 2nd through 5th was celebrated as Dr. Seuss Week in the elementary school. And then the FFA State Convention will take place March 19th through the 22nd.
And what I can add to that is the very first thing that he mentioned about having the early literacy and the teachers wanting the lady, Lindsay Gary comes from Bend to come down and do observations. Amy Fortune was here today, as she is every Monday. We visited about that, and that is, I've already set a date for that. It's going to be April 6th. It's a Monday. We're going to have her come down, do some PD, and then make a schedule for her to go in the classrooms, because teachers want her to watch them actually teach and implement some of the strategies that they've been learning. So we're going to make that happen on April 6th, have it planned. And we have enough money left over in the grant to pay for her to do that. So that's an update for that.
Okay, superintendent.
Okay, all I have is just a little bit on the budget. I listened to a meeting Friday morning, a regular Friday morning report, and Morgan Allen in COSA, as you know, is one that does the financial stuff all the time. For us, it does the legislative. They kind of divide up the duties that way from COSA. And basically the message was this, that as you guys have probably already heard through OSBA, their lobbying efforts, they lobbied really hard for no cuts to K-12, period. That included FFA grants, everything. They achieved that. There weren't any cuts. So we're getting, and Monica can add in any of this that she wants to. We are going to get the amount of money that we thought. The trouble is that we're still going to have to pare down because our costs have gone up, teachers, salaries, all that stuff. And so we're still going to have to trim down a bit, which we've already started. That was one of the reasons for the 3 classified employee reductions, budget only. That's why. But at least everything else stays at least the same. The legislature, though, but there was no increase to offset any increase in cost. So a lot of districts are still going to have to cut, even though their money was the same. But the legislature decided not to use any of the reserve funds, if we're talking about, because they're worried about future years to come, which was my only guess. That's what I told Monica. They would have used those funds, but they're worried about the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. So they're saving it for that. That's good in one hand, but on the other hand, it made them they kind of robbed Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, with a lack of better way to explain that. They didn't take it from K-12, but they took from, for example, House Bill 4075 took $45 million they came up with to bail out that hospital in Coos Bay that was going to go under. So they took 45 million, and that's 22 million of that's going to come out of K-12 eventually, because it came out of that common school fund. So they kind of went in a roundabout way, and not to mention all the other agencies in the state. We're not the only ones. There are other agencies that are paying for that as well. That might have saved the hospital, but what we're already concerned with, and the biggest part of that, it'll cost K-12's 22 million over the next 20 years to pay for that. Plus everybody else has to pay the other part of that $43 million chunk and lose that and the precedence that it sets. Morgan's really, really worried about, oh, they borrowed from that once. Now what about everything else? Now let's borrow from the state school fund. Now let's borrow from here, borrow from there, because they're having to just scramble around and find all this money to.
You don't want to offer the government a line of credit.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. So that was his biggest concern about that it just set a horrible example, and he just is waiting for everybody else to come asking for money, and eventually it'll get around to K-12. So kind of good news, bad news sort of thing. Anyway, for the legislative news from Parasa Chanrami, she just said to which I've already told you, this has been talked for a while, to be very watchful for increased scrutiny regarding how districts spend our funds, what we're getting for that, what are we achieving, what are we doing, what progress are we making. She said it's just going to get more tight, more of a microscope every year. We're going to be under for, they're just not going to give us this money and say here to run your school. They're going to want to know what we're getting, which is part of what that Senate Bill 140 is about, the accountability bill. They want to know, how are our kids achieving? What are they doing? What kind of scores are they getting? Because we're giving you this amount of money to make those accomplishments. And she said it's just going to become more that way. So just watch for that. And I don't really have any other information about that. I have some, we talked about it, but we are going to be given, right now we're working on 5, those goals that keep coming up: graduation, 4-year, 5-year completion rate, attendance, 3rd grade and 9th grade on track. All of those, Scott, you were part of that group. Now we're going to have 7 of those that are told to us what we have to accomplish. And then we have to choose one more. That's a district one. And there's a list. We can't pick anyone. They have a list, and we have to choose the one that we want to work on as a school. So that's coming, but they're just working on it. So I will tell you what I know between now and the end of the year as they do more work on that. I don't even know if they'll get it ready for a rollout next year. I think that's their goal. They have a lot of work to do to get that done between now and the summer. And I think they will, but it's not ready for any presentation other than what I've already given today. So that's about it. So that's kind of what's coming down to there.
Those 7 accountability groups that you just mentioned, is that their names for that
Well,
battery of?
it's called performance targets. So if you want to Google something, just look for the performance targets.
And we do 7 now, and we have to come up with another.
We do 5 now. We have to do 7 plus choose another one. So there's going to be 8 altogether. So we're increasing our group of 5 by 3. Okay. Yeah. That's it for me.
So the short of all that is they want to see progress, but that just means a lot more paperwork
A lot more paperwork.
to
Yeah.
prove that you're making progress.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is more administrative.
And remember too, that I've told you guys this a couple of times because this has not been made a secret. It's in that bill, Senate Bill 140, that if they give us this money, and I think it's by 28, 29, if you haven't made sufficient progress toward those goals, they're going to send a coach out here to say, you're going to do this, 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 and tell all our teachers what they're going to do. And then if the kids still don't make sufficient progress, then they have the right to, according to that bill, take 25% of our funds, our state school funds, and spend them the way they think we should be. So they can tell us how to spend our money that we get from them. That's the continuum that they have.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. If you're spending more money and scores are going down, at some point it's,
Something's not adding up.
Remember when they first started doing the accountability matrix in the 80s, 90s? And the whole punitive part was to take the funds away from the school district.
Mhm.
And then the school districts are going, well, then how do we
get
meet the
better?
targets with less funding, you know? So they've kind of changed that model to put a coach out here, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
ODE, I didn't say that line.
Yeah. Well, and I
Sorry,
think,
ODE.
yeah, I think the part of it, I get that too, because I've already been down that road. I've already been through that process and I know how it worked and it did help us make progress. They didn't take our funds because that wasn't part of the deal at the time, but it did help us make progress. However, we had other tools in our tool belt, like we could do something about attendance. We didn't have all the other issues. They've just taken away all of our tools. We can't make kids come to school. We can't, I mean, there's no fine, there's no anything. So it's kind of, I get that, but at the same time, then if you want kids to do better, then there need to be others working on this too, not just the teachers, because they can't do all of it. They truly just can't. They can't teach the kids if it's school. It's just basically it. That's one of the issues as I see it. So in theory, yeah, might be helpful, but at the same time, there are other things that are, I would say, more outside of our control that are going to have to be addressed as well if they really want to see the progress that they want us to see. Because,
gotta get some tools back.
well, they do. They have to get tools back because what they shared with us, and I'll share this. This was the part that was just fresh to me on Friday. So I'm not really ready to prepare, but like by 28, they want to have us schools performing be in the top 5 nationally in terms, if you look at the numbers that they're giving us, they have where we are now, our average percentage, they want targets where they want us to be. And in like math, I think it's math, it's almost double. They want us to be at the top of the nation, in the top 5 in the nation in a couple of years. I just don't. And we watched, Laura and Megan were there. We watched a video in our PLC last week, wasn't it? The gals from Mississippi that had the literacy thing and they did it statewide. They all in on this one program that's wildly successful and took them 12 years. They're in year 12 and they're still working on it. And they want us to do it in 2. So it's kind of like, okay, I get it, but let's have some reasonable expectations and some tools back and things like that. So it's a little bit discouraging at the same time, I would say, from where we all sit. So that's just my 2 cents on it, but I'll report more on that later. So if you guys hear anything about that through OSBA or any of your professional development things, you hear anything about that, it might be something you want to pay attention to as well. To see where you might want to go with that or what you want to do about that as a board.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, on that good news. I
Yeah,
guess we
I'm
can-
sorry.
We can clear the room. We're gonna move on to an executive session. So unless there's anything else, any comments?
Do we have any updates on, I know Barry's not here, but,
On the sort of stuff?
roofing?
No.
No, he told me there wasn't anything else to report. Monica, did you have anything he told you the same thing, right?
Yeah, no, we're
Wasn't anything,
just planning on putting it in next year's budget. Or we have to already have it over spring break.
Yeah,
yeah,
I asked Janet about this on the preliminary agenda to talk with Barry, and I think that was the feedback, is that they're still doing, because we asked about moving some of the stuff on the roof to a different location, and so they're diving into that, but they haven't done anything. So,
Well, then no more.
good.
yeah, okay.
Well, yes,
As far as like, thanks for renewing my contract, by the way, but what is gonna be my contract? That's the other thing. We probably have to come up with what that's gonna be for next year, so we can get it into the budget. So,
You'll negotiate that with them. At the next-
so at the next meeting, is
Yeah,
that?
'cause the
what
budget
happens?
meeting's at the end of April. Yeah, no, it's, well, that's the 20th, but I gotta have you on.
Ahead of time. That's what I was thinking is, I mean, we can do it at internet too.
Yeah.
And you guys had said, remember that you wanted to do that with admin individually, so that's why he's bringing that up.
So,
That was,
Whatever. Do we need
Yeah.
to set a, like a special meeting or?
is when do you need that?
Well, maybe just feedback.
By the end of next week.
could you do something with the
But if you
superintendent? When you're already getting.
just to have the amount in the budget, you guys don't have to approve it. I mean, you can
Yeah.
approve it at the next board meeting.
Right.
You need to have a number of.
Yeah.
to get it in the budget.
Does it have to be all of us or could we do a committee like we did for the teacher negotiation?
You can do a committee, I think. Mhm. Couple of you.
Get it knocked out next week.
You could even just come down on, when you can, two of you that get together and just visit with Aaron during the day if you want to.
Yeah.
And I'm fine, whatever, so we can get it to Monica. Yeah.
Be something to get.
So the motion, create a committee to review or set.
Negotiate.
Negotiate vice principal contract.
We create a committee to negotiate the vice principal contract. Have it done by the end of the month.
Okay.
Month of next week.
I don't think that was the date she was looking for.
Before spring break, before Monica leaves.
Yeah.
Now, think about it.
Very. Or spring break.
Make that motion, Preston?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? Now, who would like to be on that committee? So,
I won't be.
so we would need, we can't have three.
Two people, same as regular negotiations.
I can do one.
You, Mark? Okay.
Mark,
I'm close.
Preston,
I can do it.
and sorry, Aaron, those two are tough.
Might thank us now, but.
I'm starting to jump in there, but
Usually here for open gym on Mondays and Thursdays, so you just stay and play. We can talk about
Yeah,
and,
you don't wanna
and
see me on that court.
it. I'll be on the bench. so-
Cameron's a set, right?
Yes.
It's a 2-year, and that's what we approved
Yeah,
last fall.
yeah, he's good too. He's-
Okay, thank you, Aaron, for bringing that up, because, yeah, you may not have gotten paid next year.
So Janet, can you put
So Monday or Thursday.
But, some, it is more as far as
I'm around.
what he has now or whatever.
Yeah, I think between Monica and, yeah, I think it is, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Is there a date that works well for you next week or? Next week.
And spring break started.
Last day before break is like Thursday.
Yeah,
All that fun.
so yeah,
Okay, so by 19th of March.
Yeah.
Well, there's a chance we're gonna be here.
Well, 17th or 18th.
Calls aren't they?
Oh, so
Over there, we're supposed to be here? Here, attempting to do a Zoom call.
It's Zoom call, but
Oh.
we haven't talked about whether or not we want to do a collective Zoom for those that wish to be part of that or not, but we'll talk about that in the next hour.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Both of them.
So,
yeah, you can just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys.
all right,
Appreciate
Thank
it. Yep.
we'll adjourn the
Something, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
6:55, Janet. Thank you all for coming.
4-minute recess.
I guess so.
Or, I'm gonna close.
Time's a ticking.
Okay, I'm gonna get on for
Oh.
seven, executive session at seven.
Did you watch the 1A girls championship? Benwood Clackamas Christians, there's 3 sisters on the team, 2 juniors and 1 freshman. And they were on fire at the championship. One of the juniors is 5'11", but she's a point guard basically.